God said, be not ignorant of Satan's devices. Right now, this is a device. The phone he's using is a device. This is a device. So Satan have control over these devices. That's why they put tracking codes and all these wicked stuff in there. But Habakkuk the prophet said, "Oh Lord, how long shall I cry?" Just like a lot of so-called black people right now, dark-skinned people, they crying to the Lord for the past 100 years, 400 years, or 300 years in America. Why are you allowing us to go through slavery, right? Why are you allowed? Just like the prophet asked God. He said, how long shall I cry and you will not hear? That's why a lot of dark-skinned people is running away from the Bible and going to the Muslim God, the Quran, or any of these, or even the Mormons. They got dark-skinned people and Mormons. They wonder why they go to these other religions, right? Because God is answering our prayers when we do what He say.
Yes.
2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves, turn from their evil ways, I shall rain down, I forgot what He said, but He shall heal our land, basically. So when we do, He says as a whole, not individually, but as a whole, we will get justice in America. We're not getting justice because we're not doing what He said. So He said, how long shall I cry and you will not hear? Even cry unto you of violence, what they call police brutality, violence, brute beasts. God talks about brute beasts in the Bible. We all have been brute beasts. He said, and you will not save. Why we haven't been saved as a nation? Not about just so-called black people. Every nation that's been in slavery, God has punished for a reason. But we know we got the most severe judgment. But it's not about racism right now. It's about the word of the Lord. Why do you show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? We are grieving the same dark-skinned people who's grieving for over 300 years in America. They still have no peace. They say no peace, no justice, no peace. Y'all don't have peace because y'all don't follow the one who's gonna rise from the east, right? Something like that. He gonna come from the east where he come back through the sky, something like that. He said, we don't have no peace because we don't follow the Prince of Peace, which is Jesus Christ. He said, I will give you the peace that surpasses all understanding. I don't care if thousands of military cops came and pointed guns at me. I will not fear because the Lord is near. He said in Psalms 91, they will not come near you. Thousands come at your side, but they will not come near you. He said the wicked flee when no one pursues. So when God is for you, He will put His fear upon you, and the wicked cannot touch you. They thought they killed Jesus, but He said, no one can take my life. I lay it down and I rise it back up. And when He rose back up on the third day, they was confused. They was the wise ones of the world, right? He said, I use the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. I use the weak things of the world to confound the strong. Let's give an example through the Holy Spirit. King David was short and small. He was the weak thing, right? David Goliath was the mighty thing. He was big and mighty, but he used the weak things of the world to confound the strong. King David versus Goliath. What else? He used the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. I'm like King David in many ways and many other biblical people. I'm the youngest in my bloodline, father household, and I'm used like King David. I was chosen like King David. I'm higher and closer to God than everybody in my mother's household. That's not normal. That's not natural. But God uses the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. People, oh, I'm older than you. You can't teach me nothing. Oh yeah, he said, I already know people got in their mind. You're supposed to have an interpreter when you preaching, speaking in tongues. Well, God said, I'm gonna say it in a different way. Shekamaya liar. Yeah, you're right about that, but the devil gonna say these are the tongues of the false Pentecostal churches. They preach lies. They speak demonic tongues. True. They speak in demonic tongues. They're not doing the will of God. But a lady, not gonna say her name, but pray for her because she's been going through a whole lot. But she told me on Facebook Messenger that she has the interpretation of tongues. Only 3 tongues that God interpreted for her. So I asked her to test the spirit. She said that when I shared my tongues with her, the Holy Spirit tongue, she said she seen me in a vision, at least 13 feet, like a giant with a sword, slashing demons, just spinning around, just slashing demons with the sword. And she said I was saying something like, I will not obey you or not bow down to you, or something like that. He's doing something right now because that's a distraction. But then she said she just said all types of things. She said within the last 6 months, the demons from before, they are greater now. The demons from 6 months ago, they are greater and greater and more powerful. They're becoming more wicked and more wicked now. That's why we see. He said wickedness shall abound or something like that. It shall be greater and greater. He said our heart shall wax cold and cold. Right now, they say it's about 80, 90 degrees. No, spiritually, it's like 666 degrees Celsius, if that's what it's called, cold, right? Literally, spiritually, it's very cold. The hearts of many shall wax cold. They call it Black Lives Matter, right? I know y'all say I keep switching, but it's a reason for it all. Y'all call it Black Lives Matter. Y'all support Black Lives Matter, right? But y'all hypocrites. Y'all killing your own people in the streets, but it was prophesied. I think it's somewhere in Jeremiah, God said the Egyptians will be against the Egyptians. Deuteronomy 28. Do you interrupt the pastor? Do you interrupt the Muslim leader when he's speaking? No, right? Anyways, thank you, Holy Spirit. Deuteronomy 28. He said the Israelites, their brother would be against their brother. Their own wife would be against their own husband. And we see that in the so-called black community. The wife is going to other nations because they hate their own dark-skinned nation. The brothers against the brothers right now. Chicago is one of the worst states. The worst state